Hello and welcome to your Saturday morning chatty scent corner. So today I have such a fun video for you. It's going to be epic. So I hope that you are ready because, I have been preparing you for spring in all types of fragrances and even like scented body products. But today I'm going to be sharing with you 22 fragrances. And these 22 fragrances I consider to be the very best of the most recently super hyped and viral perfumes that we've all seen. So maybe starting with like 2 seasons ago and coming into 2026, I have such an incredible group of fragrances. You just cannot go wrong with these. And the best part is that I've included Western niche, designer, and affordable Middle Eastern. So let's go ahead and jump right in because as usual, we have quite a bit to cover. And also, I was almost forgetting that we're, of course, going to have Memory Lane. I have two incredible fragrances to share with you during Memory Lane. So let's go. But before we jump right in, if this is your first time here, I'm Arahi and I'm your fragrance concierge because I'm totally committed to creating the best fragrance experience for you. I upload videos multiple times a week, and on this channel, we just love to talk about fragrances. So, if that sounds like the type of content that you're interested in and like a good plan, then please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, don't forget to hype it, and leave a comment. Let's go, fam. All right, so as always, let's go ahead and let me share with you my makeup of the day. So today I was in the mood for like a nude look because I knew that I was going to wear this top and I decided to switch it up and pull my Dior. So today I am wearing one of the Dior eyeshadow quints. I absolutely love this one. It is a beautiful neutral combination. I mean, look at this color story. You see? So this goes with just about everything. Now, in addition to that, I also pulled a Dior blush, and this one is a 962 Poison Matte. Look at how beautiful. I absolutely love this blush because while it is a pink, it is like it's cool tone, but it's also like a little bit warm and it's just perfect. And it goes with just about everything. You could even like be wearing a red lipstick and just pull off this blush. It does look like it's really deep, but as you can see, it applies just beautifully, just giving you a very natural finish. Now for a lipstick, I did pull a Dior lipstick, but this one is a liquid lipstick. And this one is in 558. And of course, as always, I will leave a link for you to all of these products, in addition to the others that I'm wearing on my face, in the description box of this video. But this lipstick I absolutely love. This is part of their Forever Liquid collection, which is like a non-transfer type of lipstick. So allegedly you can eat, drink, and do whatever you want all day long and it's going to stay there, and it does. But you know that my favorite formula for non-transfer lipsticks is really Chanel, but this one really works really nicely. I just find it a little bit drying. So what I do, of course, is I add something to like bring a bit of like nourishment to my lips so they don't look all dry and like cracky. So for that, I am today, of course, using a Dior Lip Glow Oil. You guys know how I've been fascinated and obsessed with these. And this one is in the color Jelly. And of course, I'll be sure to link it for you. And of course, I do also have a lip liner, just to keep the lipstick in its place. And this one is from Pat McGrath. And I've shared this one with you before. This is in Living Legend. And I'll try to find it because I'm not sure if it's been discontinued or not. But anyway, that's what I'm wearing today, and it'll all be in the description box in case you're interested. Now, before we get started, I do have 5 honorable mentions because these are fragrances. Actually, no, they are entire collections that they come without saying. These all go viral and are pretty much very much hyped every time they launch a flanker. So I just wanted to do an honorable mention just to let you know that it's not like I'm thinking they're not worthy of being on this list, because in my opinion, they absolutely are. And I have already reviewed them here for you. I have super discussed them. I have featured them several times. So the first one is the entire Burberry Goddess line. I don't care which one it is that you prefer. I think that they're all incredible. So I just wanted to mention that. The next one would be the Donna Born in Roma collection. Regardless of which one is your favorite flanker, I think that it's also worthy of being a part of this group, but I was not going to bring all those fragrances. I also have the YSL Libre line. How could I talk about spring fragrances and not mention YSL Libre, right? And then I have the Donna Karan Cashmere collection. You guys know how obsessed I've been since their initial launch with just about every fragrance in that collection. And the beauty of those fragrances, by the way, is that they're not really just about the spring season. Several of them are really, really good for all throughout the year. And the next one would be the Marc Jacobs Perfect line. Needless to say, regardless of which flanker it is that you love, they are just absolutely perfect for the spring season and absolutely beautiful fragrances that are worthy of an honorable mention. So I just wanted to cover those 5 collections before jumping into the 22 fragrances that I have to share with you today. So let's go. All right, so just a couple of things. Please note that I am not going to be sharing these fragrances in any particular order. Even if I wanted to rank them for you, I could not do that because these fragrances are all deep loves of mine and they're all over, right? That there's so many different scent profiles. It would be like comparing apples to oranges. So just go along and enjoy the ride and just enjoy the description of these fragrances. And they have all been reviewed here on the channel in detail. And some of them even have dedicated reviews. So I am going to get into a certain degree of detail, but not too much. If you're interested in the full-on detailed review of any of these fragrances, just remember, enter the name of the fragrance in the search bar tool of my main channel page, and any video where I have featured this specific fragrance will definitely pop up for you. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with a fragrance that I can't remember if this one was launched at the beginning. No, I think it was during 2025. It doesn't matter because this fragrance is just absolutely perfection for the spring season. This fragrance did go viral. It was super hyped because it is from Vivamor Perfumes and it is done in collaboration with a content creator here on YouTube, which is Redolessence, which I absolutely love. So this fragrance is Main Character. And here is the absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous bottle. Beautiful. But I have to tell you guys, the bottle does not make justice to the juice. As beautiful as the bottle is and the presentation and everything, the juice is just surreal and perfection for spring. So let me tell you, at the top, we have pear blossom, bergamot, raspberry, white peach, and pink peony. At the heart, you have cotton candy, Egyptian jasmine, orris. At the base, vanilla bean, caramel, velvet, musk, and sandalwood. So this is a fragrance that is truly a musk-based fragrance, but I'm going to start by telling you that the musk here is like a level 2 and it's not animalic in any kind of way. This is a fragrance that opens with a certain degree of airiness due to some beautifully done citrusy notes. But as soon as it opens, it is sweet, it is fruity, and it has a certain degree of yumminess to it that I can't explain. To me, this one is definitely a floral fruity gourmand because you are going to have those florals. And the one floral that I pick up on clearly is that peony for sure. This is to me definitely a feminine fragrance. I really don't think that this is for my gents unless you want to layer it with a woody kind of scent. That would be perfection. But for me, this is really more about the ladies. You can dress this up, dress it down. You can use it for any season where there is warmth. So I would say spring, summer, and the opening of fall. I don't think that this one is really for a very, very cold winter day, which is why it's on this list of perfect fragrances that were hyped but are beautiful for the spring season. Let us know if you are one of those fam members that picked up Main Character and what has your experience been with it? Don't you think this is perfect for the spring season? Let us know in the comments section. Next, let's talk about a fragrance that, of course, if we're talking about 22 fragrances that have been seriously hyped, that have gone viral, and we do not talk about Amouage Guidance 46, I don't know, we would be lost. So yes, I did have the choice of either picking Guidance or Guidance 46, but since Guidance 46 is actually my favorite, even though I just love the OG also, but I really felt that I needed to bring this one to your attention because this is Absolutely incredible. And here is the gorgeous bottle. So Amouage Guidance 46 has at the top rosewater, pear, hazelnut, bitter almond, frankincense, and pink pepper. At the mid, it has rose, osmanthus, saffron, and jasmine sambac. And at the base, sandalwood, akigala wood, vanilla, ambrette, georgie wood, ambergris, labdanum, and cypriol. Now, let me just start by saying that I have a dedicated review for this fragrance where I also compare it to Just Guidance, the original. But here's what I have to say. This one, I think, needs no introduction. This one definitely went ultra viral, was super hyped, and it deserves it all because this is a fragrance that is absolute perfection. This is the one fragrance in my entire collection across the board that gets me the most compliments. This is the type of fragrance that when I wear it, I get stopped every step of the way. It actually becomes a little bit annoying after a while because you really can't focus, be at a restaurant or at an event or anything, without people surrounding you and asking you what you're wearing. This is a magnet. And it is a fragrance that has a floral presence. It also has a bit of fruitiness to it, but it is not like a fruity floral scent. Oh no, because there's quite a bit of a spicy effect to it with a very marked note of frankincense, which is what this DNA is known for, in my opinion, primarily. So you're going to have that spiciness, that floral presence, and at the dry down, you are going to get a seamless scent that is worthy of spring, summer, fall, and even winter. But if you're opening the spring season, this is absolute perfection. It will carry you beautifully. This is a scent that I like to reserve for special occasions, not necessarily formal events, but when I want to feel really well put together, this is the scent that I like to pull. When I want to command attention wherever I'm going, this is the fragrance that I like to pull. So this is not one that I would wear to the office, but you can wear it for any occasion, day or night. Do with it what you want, because remember how we do here. Wear what you want, when you want, and how you want. And this one is no exception. Let us know if you've tried Guidance 46, if you own it, if you love it, if you're one of those fan members that's like, okay, no, Arahi, I am not into that scent profile, which I understand because this is really not for everybody. This is also not a safe blind buy. And at this price point, I don't recommend that you blind buy it, but it is definitely an incredible, a masterpiece. It is truly a scent worthy of a fragrance collector. Next, I have for you an affordable Middle Eastern fragrance. And when it comes to Lattafa, there were so many different choices for me, but I definitely had to select their latest launch, which is Angham's second song. Here is the gorgeous bottle. Now, Angham's second song is a flanker. Well, I don't think that this is a flanker, but hey, it is, let's call it the second fragrance within the Angham collection, because second song is really, to me, not a flanker from the original, because the scent profile of the original versus this one is just absolutely different. This is a totally different scent profile, totally different fragrance. So if you're thinking that you're going to pick up second song and this is going to be like a bit of a twist to the original DNA or the original scent profile, oh no, that is not what you're going to get here. This one has been allegedly, and I am here to tell you that yes, it has all the way, because I also own the OG. But this one has been allegedly inspired by Dolce & Gabbana's My Devotion. Not Devotion, but My Devotion, which is actually the second flanker stemming from the original, which is Devotion. I absolutely love that fragrance. I have also reviewed it here on the channel for you. Immediately when it launched, I picked it up and I fell in love with it, and I had no plan to pick it up, but I went in store, sniffed it, and I just had to take it home with me because to me, it is that incredible. But at that, it's not that it's not necessarily a safe blind buy, but that is not a fragrance that I recommend that you blind buy. Just like maybe with this one, you want to go in store, sniff My Devotion, see if you like that, and then pick up Angham's second song, unless you are okay with all the notes and accords that I'm going to share with you in a minute. So let's go into the notes. So at the top, we have pear blossom and bergamot. At the heart, we have peony, orange blossom, and praline. And at the base, vanilla, musk, ambroxan, and tonka. Needless to say, for the fan members that are sensitive to ambroxan, this one is not for you. So Angham's second song is a fragrance that opens with a citrusy quality, which will be needed for later in the olfactory journey, because once those florals come in, the orange blossom really takes over. And it can be a bit overpowering, especially if you're not into the note of orange blossom. As the journey continues, the beauty here is that you're going to think that this has a ton of vanilla, but no, what it is that there is such an exquisite, because it's almost bordering on yummy, there is such an exquisite mix and blend at the dry down of the note of vanilla and the note of tonka bean. That tonka bean infuses the scent with a warm, spicy quality and an extra dose of picking up on that vanilla note. To me, this is a fragrance that really is more feminine than anything. You can dress it up, you can dress it down, any occasion, day or night. I can't recommend this one highly enough. For me, it was between bringing in the original Angham or bringing in this one. And because I am so in love with this scent profile, I had to bring this one, but of course, you know, both deserve to be here. Next, I have for you a fragrance that definitely was ultra hyped and went viral, and deservingly so. And this one is from the House of Bo, and it is Ave Maria. And here is the gorgeous bottle. I don't know if you're familiar with the House of Bo fragrances, but all of their bottles are just so exquisitely beautiful. Oh, the aesthetic is just impeccable, priceless. Absolutely love it. But the juice, wow. This scent is absolutely glorious. This speaks of welcome spring, hear me roar. It is absolutely beautiful. It's almost like a fairy, like flowing, like blooming. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's a very soothing, very flowing, very beautiful scent that makes a statement, but not one that is way overpowering. This is not screechy or loud in any kind of way, but there is something about this scent that even though it is so smooth, it still makes a statement and is going to get you a ton of compliments. So at the top, Ave Maria has gardenia, Indonesian jasmine, and cashmere. And at the heart, it has neroli, pear, and rain notes. And at the base, it has red wine, oak, and leather. Now, if you're concerned about the leather, I am here to tell you, you're not even going to pick up on the leather much. At the dry down, you are going to get like a faint. If you look for it, you will find that faint leather note, but I am here to tell you that that leather note is the one that, in my opinion, grounds the fragrance and gives it an extra layer of personality. Absolutely love it. For me, the floral that stands out the most, and this is all about a bouquet of white florals, by the way, but the one that really stands out from the beginning is the note of gardenia. Do you have to enjoy gardenia in order to enjoy this fragrance? I dare say yes, because while it's not overpowering or, or out of line between all the other notes and accords, the gardenia is definitely present and you're going to pick up on it. But other than that, I can tell you that the entire feel and vibe of this fragrance speaks clearly to the spring season beyond a shadow of a doubt. So if you're looking for a fragrance that's going to make you femininely beautiful, flowing like a fairy, this is the fragrance. Angelic, this is the fragrance for you. Let us know if you've tried Ave Maria, because I know many of you have, and what are your thoughts? Now, this next fragrance is from one of my top 5 favorite fragrance houses. And when it comes to the house of Guerlain, there are so many fragrances that I could have picked to share with you today. And I do want to make a couple of honorable mentions. So let's talk about the obvious Spiritus Double Vanille. That fragrance is absolutely exquisite, beautiful. To me, it is an all year round kind of fragrance. But I wanted to share another one with you today. In addition to that, when it comes to the spring season, you just cannot go wrong with Oud Nude. You just cannot go wrong with Iris Pallida, which is part of the X-Straits collection. And you, of course, cannot go wrong with Vanille Planifolia. But today, I want to speak to you about the fragrance that I think was actually a gift from Guerlain for those of us that, number one, are collectors, but number two, for those that wanted to try the magic of the House of Guerlain. And I'm speaking about Shalimar L'Essence. And here is the gorgeous bottle. Now, Shalimar L'Essence was launched to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Shalimar. And I have to tell you that from the beginning, I've been saying that to me, this is like a gift from Guerlain, because the vanilla that you're going to experience here is truly the signature vanilla that we've come to love and absolutely be addicted to when it comes to the House of Guerlain and the way that they do their vanilla. This is absolutely exquisite, and it is indeed a very safe blind buy. Now, let's talk about the notes, because it opens with incense, almond, and bergamot. At the heart, you have iris, amber, rose, and opoponox. And at the base, Madagascar vanilla, musk, benzoin, tonka bean, and leather. Now, let me start by saying that at the dry down, what you are going to get is a very refined, beautifully done, timeless vanilla centric scent for sure. But the journey itself is just so beautiful, just like every Guerlain fragrance, because you're not going to just get vanilla from the beginning and then more vanilla and then more vanilla and then sweet vanilla. Oh no, this opens with a certain degree of airiness due to some citrusy notes, and I'm glad that they did, because if not, I'm afraid that the opening would be a bit much. In the opening, I do pick up a bit of smokiness, but not necessarily with the citrusy notes. It's almost like as the journey continues and I start to pick up on the florals, where the iris definitely takes the lead to my nose and on my skin. And at that time, the scent does become a little bit powdery, not very powdery, but at the dry down, it will be powdery, not super powdery, but you are going to pick up on it. In addition to that, that smokiness that it opens with will intensify as the journey continues. And at the dry down, you are going to get that vanilla scent, which is sweet, but not very sweet, with a tad of smokiness that brings like a layer of character and oomph to the scent itself. And it is going to be powdery with a floral presence. In addition to that, you are going to pick up on a hint of a leather note, which also adds character, and a very present note of tonka, which you will not be able to avoid, but that you're going to love, because it'll just like intensify that vanilla note and add like a caramelly kind of vanilla kind of scent. You will absolutely love it. To me, curiously enough, this is very much a unisex, leaning heavy to the feminine side kind of fragrance. This is one that you can use for any occasion, day or night. I can't speak highly enough to how incredible this fragrance is, in my opinion, for spring. You can wear it on its own, you can layer with it, but I really think that this does not need to be layered with anything. Just wear it on its own and enjoy it. To me, this is definitely a safe blind buy, and I know that many of you picked it up. So if you could please let us know in the comment section how you feel about it. Do you love it? And if you do, why? If you don't, let us know, and also why. Now, at the beginning of today's video, I did do an honorable mention, and I did mention 5 different collections that I did not include in this lineup because they have so many flankers, and there are so many flankers that we love. And I just could not pick one flanker, and I just thought, you know what? I'll just do an honorable mention for the entire collection, because regardless, we all have our favorite or favorites, and they deserve to be mentioned. This next fragrance belongs to a collection that has been around for a very long time. And when you know what I'm talking about, you're going to be like, okay, Arahi, why didn't you include that in the honorable mentions? And you included like, the entire goddess line. Well, because the fragrance that I'm going to speak about from this collection, I think really is very special. And let me explain why. But I am speaking about La Vie Belle, and this is Vanille Nude. I can almost hear your reaction. Here is the gorgeous bottle. Now, this fragrance, the reason it is here is because, and I shared this with you when I think I did a dedicated review because I was that impressed from the beginning. So this fragrance is the flanker that made me return to La Vie Belle, because I had not necessarily written that entire line off because it's beautiful. There's nothing to not love about, certain flankers from that collection. But I had told myself, you know what, enough. There's just so many flankers of it. I'm good. I enjoyed the scent profile. Let's move on. But this one, oh no, this one made me revisit. So this one has at the top solar notes and jasmine, at the heart bourbon, vanilla, and at the base, white musk and sandalwood. This is truly a very, very musky scent to the tune of now I would say 3 to 4, more 4 than 3, but that musk is not animalic in any kind of way, so you don't have to worry about that. At the end of the day, this is truly a very vanilla centric kind of scent that also has some woody notes at the dry down that add quite a bit of character and oomph. To me, this fragrance is all about a mix of the note of jasmine with quite a bit of vanilla on a backdrop of musk and woodiness. And I have to tell you that this is such an easy pull, easy reach for spring, summer, and even more than that. But I think that this is perfection for the spring season. And it is not your typical vanilla centric scent because I have several that I'm sharing with you today, but they each have their own standout gift, let's call it. And the gift of this one, it is that it is truly an easy pull, beautiful floral vanillic scent that has quite a bit of personality. This is a great way to start your fragrance journey if you're a new collector and or if you're just starting with designer fragrances, because this can compete with the very best, I tell you. Anyway, I know that many of you own this fragrance, so please let us know in the comment section how you feel about it. Now, when it comes to Kayali, how could I have this type of lineup and not include Kayali fragrances? But I decided to select one, even though all of their fragrances, any launch from Kayali, as I'm sure you know, is highly hyped and most of them go viral. And this one was no exception. This is from a very recent collection. And I have to tell you that this one is my favorite from that collection. And you may recall when I reviewed it here on the channel that I told you that this one was it. And this one is Freedom Musk Santal 34. And I still just have the little bottle. I have not really had a chance to pick up the big bottle, but that is definitely in the plans. And I'm going to tell you right now, the other 3 fragrances that are a part of this collection, I love them all. I'm just waiting for Mona to put out like big bottles so I can buy all 4 of them. But anyway, so this is definitely a scent that focuses on a beautifully done note of Santal, but more the musk than the Santal itself. So let's talk about it. So at the top, we have mandarin, bergamot, and pink pepper. At the heart, freesia, lily, and lavender. At the base, musk, sandalwood, amber, and vetiver. This is a very versatile fragrance because it does have an ambery dry down that is marked by a very present musky accord. The musk here, I would say, is between a level 4 and 5, more 4 than 5, 5 being the most and 1 being the least. I would say it's a level 4, but it's not animalic in any kind of way. The fragrance does open citrusy, bordering on zesty just a tad, and it does have an immediate warm, spicy effect with a very present note of pink pepper. As the journey continues, there is a combination of florals. The floral that I pick up on the most is the note of freesia. I do think that you have to enjoy freesia in order to enjoy this one. And at the dry down, you are going to get a beautiful, ambery, woody, musky scent that is marked by a tad of a citrusy quality that keeps the scent airy and those florals where the freesia is still the star, at least to my nose. I can't speak highly enough of this fragrance. To me, this is unisex, leaning a tad to the feminine side, but I can definitely see a gent pulling this off. This is another fragrance that is perfection for the spring season. You could use it all throughout the year, in my opinion, but this is perfection for the spring season and one that you don't have to think about too much because it is just gorgeous. You can pull it for any occasion, day or night, dress it up, dress it down. Anyway, I know that many of you have at least tried this fragrance, so please let us know your opinion in the comment section. Do you think that this is perfection for the spring season? So just a little while ago, when I was speaking to you about La Vie est Belle, and I told you that that one fragrance, Vanille Nude, is the one that really brought me back and reignited my love for that La Vie est Belle collection. Well, the next fragrance that I have for you has also been around for quite a while. It does have quite the number of flankers, but I had not necessarily completely written it off, but I was not very excited. There was one that was launched that kind of made me reconsider falling in love again, which was Tiger Lily. So now you know I'm talking about Flowerbomb. But this one, when this one came in, it just took my heart away. And I am speaking about Flowerbomb Extreme. And here is the gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous bottle. This is my favorite bottle of the entire collection. So elegant, so streamlined, so beautiful, like not trying to do much, but of course the juice is going to do it all for you. So here we have at the top raspberry, at the heart rose, jasmine, and orange blossom, and at the base vanilla bean. Now, to me, this is truly a floral fruity scent that speaks clearly to the spring season. This is one of those few fragrances that can really transition you from very, very cold weather into the warmth of the spring season and then take you straight into the summer and then open the fall season for you. The only thing that I don't think this one is perfect for is a freezing winter day. But other than that, this scent is absolutely glorious. It is very marked by two notes. To me, this is all about the note of raspberry and a ton of vanilla because this is vanilla overload for sure. Now, it also does have a floral presence, but in the florals, I do pick up on the orange blossom more than anything. But at that, the orange blossom does share, that stardom with other florals. And I do pick up a little bit faint on the rose, and I also pick up on the jasmine. So for me, this is all about a white florals bouquet without the florals being a bit too much or heady or screechy in any kind of way. This is a scent that is highly, highly addictive, and to me, very much feminine. I can see a gent layering with like a very masculine scent because this fragrance is beautiful, but on its own, I think that this is very much for my ladies. You can dress it up, you can dress it down, any occasion, day or night. Make it your signature scent because you could take it to the office and again, any occasion. Performance, just like all of the fragrances that I've either shared with you today or that I'm about to share, you don't have to worry about performance with these fragrances because while they are not all powerhouses like Guidance 46, they all perform beautifully. So no worries on that. Let us know if this is a fragrance that you've tried and what is your experience with it. Are you completely in love with it? Would you agree that it is totally addictive? Now, I have been a Bvlgari collector for quite a long time, but I must say that when they launched the Allegra collection, it just took me by storm. Truly. There is not one that I've tried from that collection that I'm not absolutely in love with. You guys know that Spettacolore is my favorite, and I almost brought it in because it is perfect for the spring season also. But when there is a discussion around what is a scent from the Allegra collection that is the epitome of spring in a bottle, I think there is none other to speak about than Insieme. And here is the gorgeous bottle. Now, this is a fragrance that was just launched this past year, and I picked it up immediately, and I have reviewed it and featured it several times because it is a scent that is absolutely beautiful. There is something about it. It is so smooth and so like flowy, and it just smells like a beautiful woman. It's just incredible. But although I said woman, please note that this is perfect for any age completely. And here you have the notes of cedarwood, musk, peony, patchouli, Italian mandarin, and orange. This is a scent that is very smooth, but is very marked by two notes. The note of peony, that is the floral for sure in the lead. And then you have that musk base that is wrapped around some woodiness that brings quite a bit of character to it. Because if not, it would be like a floral lala kind of scent. But no, this has quite a bit of character without losing its like smoothness and its beauty and its flowiness. The other thing that I love about it is that it does open with some citrusy notes that border on a bit of zestiness. That zestiness goes away almost immediately. Midway in the olfactory journey, you're not going to pick up on that zesty quality, just the airiness that those citrusy notes bring. In addition to that, you are going to have a note of patchouli at the dry down that does make its presence known, but it's not earthy in any kind of way. And even if you're not into the note of patchouli, that is not something that you have to worry about in this fragrance. To me, this is completely feminine. This is one that for sure you can use for any occasion, day or night, dress it up, dress it down. You can make it your signature scent because you can wear it to the office. It is just a fragrance that is absolutely beautiful, not to mention the fact that it's going to get you a ton of compliments because it is that very special. Let us know if you've tried Insieme and what has your experience been. The next fragrance that I have for you is from a fragrance house that many of us love and are collectors of because their fragrances really speak to different situations, different preferences. I don't know, there's just something about the House of Creed, both for the gents and for the ladies. But I find that this fragrance came in and it took our hearts immediately because it is a fragrance that, although they have other scent profiles within their portfolio of fragrances that speak specifically to the spring season, I have to tell you that this one to me is the very best at this point, and I do love others too. But when it comes to Eladaria, this to me is spring in a bottle from the House of Creed. And here is the gorgeous bottle. Now, Eladaria is a note that focuses very much, at least to my nose and on my skin, on two florals. The note of rose and peony. And combined, they make a scent that is just incredible. Eladaria does open citrusy and fresh spicy. As the journey continues, the rose is going to make its appearance and it will be dominant for quite a bit before other florals come in. And then the peony shows up and it's like, no, I'm going to share the spotlight with you, Miss Rose. And that's what happens. The rose and the peony come together very nicely on a backdrop of other florals because there's more florals here for sure. As you approach the dry down, the scent does become powdery. Not very powdery, but it is a powdery dry down for sure. This is a fragrance that has quite a bit of vanilla, but the vanilla does not play a critical role because the florals never give in. Those florals are there to stay and they are not going anywhere. In addition to that, keep in mind, for those of you that are sensitive, that this definitely has ambroxan. So if you're sensitive to ambroxan, this one is definitely not for you. But at the end of the day, I have to tell you that this is beautiful. It is a musk base. The musk here is between a 3 and a 4, more 3 than 4. It is not animalic in any kind of way. And this is a scent that I have to tell you, this is an absolutely beautiful fragrance that I would highly recommend for my spring brides because I just think it's perfection, absolute perfection. Let us know if you've tried Eladaria, if you own it, if you picked it up, what has your experience been, if by any chance you're a bride that used it on her wedding day, because I am very curious because I just think this is perfection for it. Anyway, let us know. The next fragrance that I have for you is from a fragrance house that up until the point that this fragrance was launched, if I recall correctly, they only had like one fragrance and we were all absolutely enthralled and taken by that fragrance, but it was a serious gourmand. But then they launched, I can't remember if they launched this one or if they launched two other gourmands that weren't necessarily going to make you smell like a dessert like the first one. But anyway, I am speaking about Maison Mataha. And you know that if I'm speaking about beautiful, incredible, perfect for spring fragrances that were highly hyped and that went viral, I must talk about Printemps Blanc for sure. And here is the gorgeous bottle. Now, Printemps Blanc is a fragrance that focuses on a bouquet of white florals. So if you are not into white florals, this fragrance is, I'm sorry, not for you whatsoever, because the white florals here are bold, present, dominant, and unapologetic. But at that, the beauty that I find in this fragrance is that those white florals, when done like that, definitely are heady, can be headache inducing, can be a bit obnoxious, but not here. They have managed to make those florals very present and very like bold and in your face without them being too much. There is an inherent balance to the florals in this fragrance that I just don't understand. And even though this is not really a gourmand, at the dry down, I find there to be like a bit of yumminess. There's a yummy quality to it that I really can't explain. But let's talk about the notes. So at the top, we have orange blossom and grapefruit. At the heart, jasmine, sambac, and white tea. And at the base, vanilla and sandalwood. But at the end of the day, it is going to open with those white florals. The journey is going to continue with those white florals. It opens with, let's say, orange blossom and a couple of other florals that I pick up. And then it continues the journey and you're going to get more florals. And then at the base, you are going to get florals that are done beautifully exquisite with a certain degree of airiness that aids in not allowing this to be a bit too much. Surrounded like with a big hug of vanilla, because I think there's a ton of vanilla here on a backdrop of woodiness. And when I tell you this is exceptional, this to me is a masterpiece fragrance. I can't speak highly enough of it. This is absolutely incredible. I have yet to find a person that tells me that they absolutely hate it. I'm sure that some may not like it because not everything is for everybody, but this fragrance, this is incredible. So if you're looking for a white florals centric all the way scent for the spring season that can carry you into the summer and even into the opening of the fall, this is the fragrance for you. For me, while this can be a bit unisex, this is really primarily feminine, and it is a fragrance that you can use for any occasion, day or night. Even though it is all about those white florals, oh, you can bring this to the office for sure. They're just going to love to sniff you because this is a high compliment getter, and the performance, stellar. Let us know what has your experience been with Printemps Blanc, and would you agree that this one deserves to be in the very best ones for spring right now? So how could we have this conversation about fragrances that are perfect for spring, that have been highly hyped, that went viral, and that I consider to be the best from all of the ones that have gone viral and that have been hyped? Some fragrances have been hyped, spring fragrances, and I just don't think that they're that great, but that'll be for another video. But when it comes to really selecting the very best, I have to say that BDK Impadia is right up there. So here is the very gorgeous bottle. I mean, this bottle is just absolutely beautiful. I think that they really aced it with that ombre effect, like that. Just on that, we were hooked on that for the longest time. But let's talk about the juice, because the juice is incredible. So at the top, we have pear, bergamot, and mandarin. At the heart, we have Bulgarian rose, Turkish rose, and African orange flower. And at the base, akigala wood, vanilla absolute, and sandalwood. So let me just start by saying that I've heard many fam members, send me questions and make comments to the effect that this reminds them of Guidance from Amouage. Well, there are similarities, because I think that there's notes that are here that have not been disclosed, by the way, but that are part of the Amouage DNA that we've come to appreciate. I think that at times this will remind you to a certain degree of Guidance, but this is a fragrance to me on its own. This scent does open fruity, zesty, because there are some notes here that bring that zesty quality immediately. But then there's also that fruitiness. You're not going to be able to distinguish one fruit from the other, because the blend here is seamless. As the journey continues, almost like 2 minutes after the opening, the rose starts to make its appearance, setting the tone to let you know that the floral's lead here is definitely the rose. And the rose will be dominant, will be present all throughout the olfactory journey, at the dry down, and throughout the entire wear of the fragrance. Do you have to enjoy the note of rose in order to really appreciate this fragrance? In my opinion, absolutely. This is not the type of fragrance that you're going to be able to get away with wearing if you're not into the note of rose. Now, I must say that the rose is paired very nicely with a couple of other notes, because there is quite a bit of vanilla here, and then there's also another floral that really makes its appearance known, and for a minute is at the same level that the rose is, but then it takes a back seat because the rose is not having it, and that is the note of orange blossom. Beautifully done, more towards like mid approaching the dry down. That's when you're going to get it. But at the dry down, the orange blossom understands that the star is the rose, takes a back seat, and you're going to get an exquisitely beautiful, vanillic, very floral, very beautiful, with a tad of like a citrusy quality scent on a backdrop of creamy woodiness that is just out of this world. And with that, this is a fragrance that not only opens the spring, but takes you through the spring season feeling so beautiful. And you can dress it up, you can dress it down. This is the type of fragrance that it's not an easy pull because it's not like, oh yeah, I'm just going to wear Impadia. No, you really have to want to wear it. There's nothing too complicated about it. That's not what I'm trying to say, but it's not like, others that I've shared with you today that are complete easy pulls. You don't even have to think about it. No, because there's quite a bit of personality to Impadia. This is also a fragrance that I do consider to lean heavy to the feminine side. Again, any occasion, perfect for spring, definitely summer, definitely opening of the fall, but that to me is it. Let us know, because I know many of you picked up this fragrance. Let us know your thoughts and how are you enjoying it. Next, I have for you a fragrance from Miu Miu. And if you watch all my videos and you've been with me for a certain amount of time, you may recall that last season I could not stop talking about this fragrance because it has a strawberry note that has been done in such a realistic and beautiful way. I know that that is not the case for everybody, but to my nose and on my skin, it is flawless. And this fragrance is beautiful. It is my favorite from any other Miu Miu fragrance that I've ever tried. And this one is, of course, Miutine. And here is the gorgeous bottle. Now, Miutine is a scent that has at the top strawberry and gardenia, at the heart rose and jasmine, and at the base brown sugar, patchouli, bourbon, vanilla, moss, and amber. This is a scent that, although at the dry down, it is quite ambery. It to me speaks to the spring season primarily, and then you could definitely use it during the summer. But this to me is all about the spring season. That note of strawberry opens the scent with quite a bit of fruitiness, and the strawberry comes in and it is very realistic. It is luscious, it is ripe, it is sweet, it is juicy. It is everything you would want a beautiful strawberry to be. Right after that fruitiness of the opening, the florals start to make their appearance. And the way that they open for me is like a bouquet of white florals, where the one note that really takes the lead is the gardenia. And the gardenia will be in the lead of that white florals bouquet all the way to the dry down, because at the dry down, it is just so seamless that I'm no longer able to just distinguish the gardenia. No, now it's about the entire bouquet of white florals. At that, this dry down also has quite a bit of vanilla, and it has a patchouli note that is faint, but it also has an earthy quality to it that adds such a great amount of character and oomph to this scent, making it perfection for just about any occasion, day or night. You can dress it up, down, and this is just perfection. To me, this is unisex, but leaning to the feminine side for sure. I can definitely see a gent wearing this one though, for sure. And for me, this is the type of fragrance that you really want to have in your collection for those times where you're looking for a fruity, a floral fruity scent that is not going to speak necessarily just to a warm day, because that's why this is perfection for the spring. Even on a day where it's cold, a cold spring day, it's still less than the winter, but it's still cold. I think that this is a fragrance that you can definitely pull. Let us know if you own Miutine, if you've tried it, what has your experience been? If you love it, why? If you don't, why? Next, I have yet another creation from Quentin Bish, because I've shared several fragrances that, he's the perfumer for. But this one, oh wow, this one, we couldn't even get it at the store without it going absolutely viral. And I'm sure that you know that I'm speaking about Fétiche La Rose from Christian Louboutin. And here is the very interesting but gorgeous bottle. You can definitely see the complete bottle because it is just really, really interesting. So this is a fragrance that has as notes rose, black cherry, pink pepper, and ginger. Here's the thing about this fragrance. To me, this is a fragrance that you could pull any season of the year except on a very freezing cold winter day. But at that, there is something about this scent that to me speaks to the spring season, because although it has that cherry note, and the cherry note is a dark cherry and it's dense almost to the point of syrupy, you also have the note of ginger. And that ginger plays a critical role in making this a very easy to pull for the spring season type of scent. The ginger brings a certain degree of airiness, not to mention that it makes it fresh, spicy, which definitely makes quite the difference. The cherry brings that fruitiness. The fruitiness is very present. The scent is sweet, but not very sweet. It is also warm, spicy at the same time because there is pepper, if I recall correctly. And then there's the floral presence, which is all about the rose. The rose is a beautifully recently bloomed rose. This is not like a very, very young rose, but it's also not like a dated or jammy rose. No, this is a rose that you are going to get that rose essence for sure, but it is a recently bloomed rose. All in all, this is a fragrance that is an absolute beauty for the spring season. And I think it is so worthy of all of the hype and all of the viral and everything that happened around it because it is really, really special. For me, this is more of a feminine fragrance, but I can see a gent pulling this off, layering with other fragrances within this collection that may lean a tad to the masculine side because I have had a chance to try all of the fragrances to date in this collection, and some of them to me lean a tad to the masculine side, but what I do find that layering one with the other will also work very, very well. This is an absolute beauty. And I just think that you can really dress it up and dress it down. But I think that it is perfection for end of day, like towards late afternoon into early evening into late night, because it also has a touch of like a sexy quality to it. Let us know if Batiche La Rose is a fragrance that you love. What has your experience been with it? Would you agree that it is sexy? Next, I have for you a fragrance that was launched in 2026, and this one, it didn't, it didn't open like before it was launched. It hadn't been viral or anything like that. But once we started to get our noses on it and we discovered that this was done so impeccably, it has gone viral and it has been super hyped. And I'm here to say that rightfully so. And this is coming out of yet another collection that we've had flankers, okay? But this one for sure stands out. And I'm speaking about Lancome Idole, and this one is Peach and Roses. And here is the very beautiful bottle. Now, Peach and Roses has at the top red berries and pink pepper, at the heart peach, and at the base rose. This is a scent that opens immediately with the most realistic peach note that I've ever experienced in a fragrance to date. Period. This is the real deal. Now, I've told you time and time again that in my opinion, peach and nectarine are two notes that are really hard to get right and realistic in a fragrance. But here, it has been done to perfection. If you've been looking for that real, juicy, luscious, ripe, incredible peach, sweet, beautiful, that'll translate to peach on your skin, this is one that you want to try because this is amazing. The fragrance does open fruity, and I immediately pick up on that peach note. It is sweet, not super sweet, but it is definitely sweet. And it also has a bit of a spicy quality to it. As the journey continues, that peach note intensifies. And at the dry down, you are going to have the floral's presence appear. And the only floral that you're really going to get is that note of rose, which is going to play very, very nicely with that peach. At the dry down, at least on my skin, it is not solely about that peach note. It's really more of a mix of that peach and rose for sure. But this is a scent that is heavenly, glorious, and even bordering on addictive because, again, that peach note has been done impeccably. To me, this is more of a feminine fragrance. You can make it your signature scent, but to me, this is specific to the spring and summer seasons. It can open the spring for you, carry you through the spring, and carry you through the summer, and even open the fall, but not for a very, very cold winter day. Other than that, this is perfection. The performance is flawless. It is going to get you compliments because, again, it is such a realistic peach note. Absolutely beautiful. Let us know if you've tried it and what are your thoughts. And of course, we could not have this discussion on fragrances that are really incredible for the spring season and not bring up a Byredo fragrance that for sure was super hyped and really went viral because it was one of the first, if not the first, I think it was the first that was launched that opened the Absolute collection. And the thing is that for us Byredo lovers, we had loved their fragrances for years, but we had come to terms with the fact that the performance of their fragrances was not going to be very good. And personally, I would just go around either with a smaller bottle and continue to spray myself throughout the day or bring a decant until I encountered the Absolute line, because these fragrances are really border some of them on powerhouses, and this is one of them. And I'm speaking about Mojave Ghost Absolute. And here is the gorgeous bottle. Now, Mojave Ghost Absolute is a fragrance that, oh, this is like spring in a bottle. But the beauty of it is that you can pull it off in other seasons of the year. But when I sniffed this, like when I knew that spring was approaching, I was so excited because this is one of the fragrances that I thought, oh, I get to use it more this year because it hasn't been out. I mean, it was just last year that it was launched. But this one has at the top Sapodilla and Ambrette, at the heart Magnolia, Violet, and Sandalwood, and at the base Musk, Amber, and Cedarwood. Now, the DNA of Mojave Ghost, the original, not the Absolute, which is this one, but the original, is beautiful. Here, there are some differences. I've already reviewed this fragrance in detail here on the channel, and I've compared it to the OG for you. If you're interested, you know what to do. But this fragrance opens like fresh, spicy, and immediately introduces a bit of a powdery quality. That powderiness will continue to increase until the dry down, where the scent itself is definitely powdery. Not very powdery, but powdery. As the journey continues, the one floral that will stick out to you immediately is that note of violet. And here it has been done exquisitely beautiful. If you are a violet lover, this is a fragrance that you either have to pick up or get your nose on because it is perfection. The other thing that I love about it is that typically a fragrance will wait till the dry down to really introduce that woodiness. But in this fragrance, you are going to pick up on that note of sandalwood, that creamy woodiness, midway in the olfactory journey and as you approach the dry down. And then at the dry down, that creamy woodiness will be in the backdrop with the musk, giving it quite a bit of personality. The musk here is like a level 3, but it's really not animalic per se. And I say per se because I do think that it is a tad animalic, but it's not enough of a presence for me to tell you that it's animalic because I don't want you to be afraid. This is just perfection. When I tell you that this fragrance is a beauty, not just for the spring, but just an incredible scent that you are going to fall in love with for sure. This to me is definitely unisex. I don't want to say that it leans in any direction, but I also don't want you to think that this is one of those unisex fragrances that are more about the gents than the ladies. No, this is really a unisex scent that I can see anybody pulling off without a problem for any age. You can make it your signature scent. You can dress it up. You can dress it down. It is just an incredible fragrance. And I am very curious to know if you picked it up, how do you feel about it? What has your experience been? Because I think that this is just perfection for the spring season. So if you've been with me for a while, you know that in lineups such as this, as I approach the end, I get more and more excited. Not necessarily because I put certain fragrances at the end, but you know, it's just that the love of all the fragrances that I've already discussed with you is growing and growing. So now towards the end, I just get really extra about it. So I apologize in advance. But next, let's talk about a fragrance that you are not going to be surprised that it is in this lineup because it is incredible. And this one is from Initio, and this is Lift Me Up. Now, coming out of the house of Initio, if you are an Initio fragrances collector, you know that there are so many fragrances that I could have included here. There's Musk Therapy. There's just Can't Get Enough, which is completely addictive and you're not going to be able to get enough. But there is something about Lift Me Up that is so mood altering and that will put you automatically in that spring state of mind that made me pull it and make it the one for today. But I want you to know that those others, Musk Therapy will always be a lifer for me. And Can't Get Enough, I literally cannot get enough of that scent. It is super ultra addictive. But Lift Me Up, let's talk about it. So Lift Me Up has at the top, it has Magnolia and Bergamot, at the heart Tonka and Lang Lang, and at the base Vanilla and Musk. This fragrance is really about that note of Lang Lang. But here's the thing. The beauty of this scent the more you use it, the more you realize that while you may be thinking that there's quite a bit of vanilla here, it's not even about that. It's really about that glorious blend of florals with the tonka, with the vanilla. Beautiful. And the thing about the florals here is that it is an impeccable mix of white and yellow florals. But within the florals, the Lang Lang takes a very present role in playing very nicely with the note of tonka. That to me is a game changer because I don't have any other fragrance in my collection where the Lang Lang plays so closely with the note of tonka, and it is done so impeccably. This is a scent that is perfection for the spring season. You could probably pull it off any season of the year except on a very, very cold winter day. But to me, this speaks of spring, summer, and opening of the fall for sure. This is a scent that is quite mood altering. As soon as you spray it on your skin, you're going to start to experience that olfactory journey that speaks to an opening that includes white florals where the gardenia takes the lead. Just when you think that it's going to be about the white florals, the Lang Lang makes its appearance, and the Lang Lang comes in with a hint of like vanilla. That vanilla intensifies, and at the dry down, it's all about that tonka note with that Lang Lang and that vanilla, and the tonka infuses the scent with like a warm, spicy effect. And for a minute, you may even think that there's caramel here, but there isn't. This is an absolutely glorious fragrance. To me, this is definitely unisex. It is a fragrance that you can wear for any occasion, day or night. And it is a fragrance that on those days where you're not sure what to wear, it is definitely an easy pull, but it is also mood altering because there is something about it that makes it such a joy to wear. It will change your mood for sure into a very positive, a bit of a high-spirited type of mood. It is just incredible. I can't speak highly enough of it. I know many of you have picked up this fragrance or have tried it. Please let us know what you think, and let us know if there's others within the Initio collection that you think are perfection for the spring season. Because I do have quite the number of others that I could have brought in, but I wanted to give Lift Me Up a special spotlight because, again, it is very, very special, and to me, perfection for spring. The next fragrance that I have for you is a Middle Eastern fragrance, and it is a fragrance that went viral and was hyped even before it was launched. I started to hear about it way before its launch, and I have to tell you that this fragrance deserves all of the hype. And I am speaking about from Hadlash, and this one is Sawar Vanille Blanc. And here is, when I tell you, an absolutely gorgeous bottle. This has got to be one of the most gorgeous bottles in my entire collection. I mean, absolutely incredible. It is very weighty. It has a luxurious feel to it. The cap is not, it's like a light material, but it's not, it doesn't feel plasticky and like cheap in any kind of way. This is unbelievable. But let's talk about it in detail because this is a fragrance that others have said that it reminds them of other fragrances. I own the fragrances that it has been compared to, Vanilla Skin and the one from Victoria's Secret. I don't get that in this fragrance. To me, this is a standalone launch. I have not been able to really link it to any other fragrance. This one was sent to me in PR, and I've had the opportunity to use it several times. And I am telling you that this is very, very special. Before this fragrance, you guys know how I love Empire Viktor. And I have to tell you that this one is about to take over when it comes to fragrances by the House of Hadlash. There's also Fursan White, but this fragrance is incredible. Let me go ahead and share with you the notes before we get into the juice itself. So at the top, it has vanilla, powdered sugar, and apple. At the heart, cashmere wood, amber, and white blossom. And at the base, vanilla, sandalwood, and benzoin. Let me just start by saying that this is a vanilla bomb. This is loaded with the note of vanilla. It is bold, unapologetic, and in your face. This is definitely a sweet fragrance, not cloying sweet, but it is definitely a sweet fragrance. I don't pick up on much fruitiness. I do get the florals. I think that the florals here are a bouquet of white florals, but I can't distinguish one from the other. I can't say that there is one that really is the star or takes the lead because I'm not getting that. But at the dry down, you are going to get a scent that is very ambery on a background of woodiness that focuses tremendously on the note of vanilla. But there is something here. I know that there are notes that have not been disclosed because the way that this vanilla has been done is not reminiscent of any other fragrance that I have in my collection. There is something very special about this fragrance. So all of the hype that you've heard to me is definitely valid. For me, this is unisex, but leaning heavy to the feminine side kind of fragrance. This is one that you could make your signature scent. You could use it all throughout the year. But when I tell you that this is perfection for spring, to me, because in the spring, you still don't have those very hot days. It's more about that calmer weather, not as cold as the winter, not as warm as the summer, but in between. And I think that this fragrance performs beautifully for that weather. I think that you are going to get a ton of compliments whenever you wear this fragrance, and it will become a conversation piece because although it's supposed to be a vanilla only fragrance, it does so much more than that. It is not just your everyday regular vanilla. Anyway, let us know if you've tried it, if you picked it up, have you had the opportunity to wear it? Oh, and coming straight out of the box, it performed beautifully because this will give you a full day wear, and it did not require to sit in order to give me everything that I've just described for you. Anyway, let us know what has your experience been with Sawar if you've tried it. Now, the last two fragrances that I have for you in this lineup, I'm just going to apologize in advance because these two, let me just start by saying that to me, they're both masterpieces, number one. Number two, if there are two fragrances that I highly encourage you to try and get your hands on, even if you have to save your coin for a while, I am telling you, these two are just incredible. They are not going to come as a surprise to you because I have discussed them here on the channel quite a bit. I've already done reviews of them. I have featured them several times. Anyway, but let's talk about this next one. This next one is the ultimate second skin perfection scent for spring and otherwise. But this one went viral. It was super hyped and validly so. It sold out almost immediately. I think it's still sold out. Anyway, but let's talk about Carolina Herrera, and this one is Cedar Chic. And here is the gorgeous bottle. It is all white, so I'm hoping that the camera is able to pick it up. All right, so Cedar Chic has at the top aldehydes and bergamot, at the heart orange blossom, and at the base white musk and cedarwood. Here's the first thing that I'm going to say. This is a fragrance that is not linear, but starting in the opening and throughout the olfactory journey before you get to the dry down, there's very few moments where you're going to pick up on a specific note because the blend of this fragrance is beyond exceptional. It is truly seamless at the dry down. At the dry down, you are going to get a scent that is definitely very musky. This is a level 4 to 5, more 5 than 4, but it is not really animalic in any kind of way. It is a scent that is going to come across as second skin, but will still make a statement. And this one, honestly, on my skin, it does border on beast mode, but it's not like loud or screechy in any kind of way. This fragrance opens quite musky, but there's a brightness, I think, coming from the note of aldehydes. There is a brightness in the opening, and there's also a bit of a citrusy quality that brings airiness to that very present musk that is almost going to hit you in the face immediately. There is some woodiness at the dry down, but I'm not able to clearly distinguish what it is, and they really haven't disclosed it, but there is a backdrop of like soft woodiness that gives this scent, which is very smooth and very soft and very second skin like, a bit of like oomph. There's like the lift there for sure. In addition to that, I need you to know that the dry down, while being fresh, spicy, and second skin, also has a bit of powderiness to it and a soapy quality. But this is when I tell you, if you are into second skin musky scents, this is one that you at least have to get yourself a decant of. I'm going to try and find it. I've been trying to find it for the longest time to link it for some fam members that have been trying to pick it up for the longest time, but it's been sold out and sold out. But I have to tell you that this is the best musk scent that I have, second skin, that I have in my entire collection. This is absolute perfection. I can't speak highly enough of it. Needless to say, you can use this for any occasion, day or night. You can dress it up, you can dress it down. This to me is unisex, but definitely leaning a bit to the feminine side. I can see a gent pulling this off, believe it or not. I really, really can. But this is just a very, very special fragrance that I can't speak highly enough of, truly. Let us know if you've tried it. What has your experience been? What is it that you love about it? Do you get that second skin feel? Do you think that this is really a very, very special musk-centric fragrance? Now, there is a fragrance that, in looking around at all the fragrances that I've shared so far, I thought I only had one left, but I actually skipped this one. So I'm going to have to share it with you. And I am not leaving it because you really need to know about this one. This is an affordable Middle Eastern fragrance that, when I tell you this is spring in a bottle, it was not inspired by anything. It does not remind me of anything whatsoever. But when I tell you that when you spray this on your skin, you are going to be automatically in love. And this one is from Paris Corner, and this is Oravea. And here is the gorgeous bottle. This has got to be one of the most beautiful bottles I've ever seen Paris Corner put out, for sure. Now, Oravea is a fragrance that has at the top bergamot, blackcurrant, and raspberry, at the heart red berries, jasmine, and rose, and at the base musk, cedarwood, and ambroxan. So what am I going to say? If you are an ambroxan sensitive fam member, this one is definitely not for you. Now, this fragrance is gorgeous. This speaks to, I am in the spring season and I am outside and I am enjoying and I am blooming in the garden with all of the other florals. So this fragrance opens with quite a bit of fruitiness, but there's a bit of a citrusy quality to it. The fragrance does have a very present note of raspberry, but you're also going to pick up on the blackcurrant, but the raspberry takes the lead. As the journey continues, the florals make their appearance. And the florals are white florals for sure. You know, when I first received it and I started wearing it, I could tell that I could pick up on some of the florals, but as it's had a chance to sit, I'm not really able to distinguish the florals. All I know is that I'm getting a floral presence in the way of a floral bouquet, and I think that they're all white florals. By the time you reach the dry down, you are going to have a floral fruity scent that is sweet. It is a tad powdery, and it has a bit of a soapy quality to it, but the soapy quality has been done so nicely. I'm not much into soapy quality scents, but this is just perfection. The musk here is like a level 3, but it's not animalic in any kind of way, and it has that woodiness in the backdrop that adds quite a bit of character to the scent. But when I tell you this is perfection for spring, this I find to be a very, very addictive scent. I think that it is, I don't think it's unisex. I really think that this is a feminine fragrance all the way. And it is one that you could use for any occasion, day or night. It performs beautifully. It's performed beautifully since the get-go. I mean, I did spray it out when I received it, as I always tell you, but it did not need to sit to deliver. I want to know, of any of you that have picked up Oravea, what has your experience been? Because I haven't heard much talk within the fam of this fragrance, but I know that it was highly hyped and it did go viral because of the bottle and other things that were being discussed. But I just want to know, have you had the opportunity to experience it? Because if there is one fragrance within the affordable Middle Eastern fragrances for spring that I think you should really get your hands on, it's Oravea, which is why it's in this lineup. Absolutely gorgeous. Let us know your thoughts. Now, this next one is the last fragrance that I'm going to share with you in this lineup before we jump into memory lane. And I have to tell you, there was no way that I was going to have this lineup and not include a Roja fragrance. But this one, this has come into my collection and has been a game changer. It has set the bar a bit higher when it comes to elevated, sophisticated, refined, elegant gourmand scents, because this is a gourmand all the way, but not one that's going to make you smell like a specific dish or a dessert. There is a way in which Broja has been able to pull off this fragrance where there's a yumminess to it. You know it is a gourmand, but it is so elegant. It is so sophisticated. There's a smooth air to it while it still performs impeccably, and it will definitely make a statement. But let's talk about, of course, Lost in Paris. And here is the gorgeous bottle. I have shared this fragrance here on the channel with you so many times because I have been so very impressed with it. This is a very, very pricey fragrance, but I have to tell you, if there's one fragrance that I have not regretted one day spending that kind of money on, it's this fragrance. This is a masterpiece all the way for me. This is the fragrance that even if you're not a gourmand lover, you may definitely fall in love with this one because this is just incredible. Let me go ahead and share with you the notes, and bear with me because there's quite a number of them. So in the opening, we have blood orange, bitter orange, mandarin, and rum. At the heart, sugar, caramel, and butter. And at the base, pink pepper, musk, cashmere wood, clove, cedar wood, cinnamon, vanilla, and ambergris. This is a fragrance that definitely opens with a citrusy bordering on zesty quality. That is how it's going to open for sure. In that opening, you're also going to get a bit of booziness. And when that booziness comes in, the sweetness intensifies just a little bit, not allowing that booziness to be a bit much. As the journey continues, there's an inherent creaminess and yumminess that comes to the scent, and you are going to pick up on that note of caramel clearly. But it is not like a burnt or too dense kind of caramel, because there's nothing super dense about this scent. It is not light or a freshie or anything like that. It definitely has its weight to it, but there is just such a quality. There's such a level of refinement in the scent. As you approach the dry down, things will change completely because you will no longer be able to distinguish much. You are going to be left with a scent at the dry down that is definitely yummy. It has some woodiness to it. You're going to know that it's very vanillic. It's still going to have that citrusy quality with that zestiness still present. But it is a scent that, again, it is yummy but elevated, elegant, sophisticated, perfect for just about any occasion. But as I've told you time and time again, at this price point, and actually also because of the scent, I prefer to reserve it for special occasions. Not necessarily for like a formal event, but for when I want to feel rather special, because there is something so luxurious about the experience of wearing this scent. This is an absolutely gloriously beautiful fragrance. Let us know if you've tried it and what has your experience been. To me, this is very much unisex and a fragrance that, again, will take you through the entire spring season in absolute bliss. All right, fam. So now we're going to go ahead and move into our memory lane fragrances. And today I'm going to share with you two fragrances that are very, very special. We're going to go ahead and start with a fragrance that I am sure many of you are familiar with because it's still in production, and it was definitely a fragrance that was highly, highly loved. And I am curious to know, where were you when this fragrance was launched and it was being hyped and all of the hoopla was going on around it? Because I'm speaking about Calvin Klein's Eternity. And here is the bottle, just to evoke all of the memories. And of course, this is Eternity for women, but there's an Eternity for men. But the original was the Eternity, and it was for women. Now, this is a fragrance that was launched in 1988. And the vision behind it was a diamond wedding band. It was the diamond wedding band that Prince Edward, the Duke of Windsor, gave the Duchess of Windsor, who was Wallis Simpson, for their wedding. And Wallis Simpson was an American socialite that ended up, of course, marrying Prince Edward. There's a whole story behind that, but I'm not going to get into all that. But just know that the fragrance was really inspired by that wedding band. Now, this is a fragrance that is very special. It had incredible commercials during the 80s. You know, I personally wore this fragrance during my teenage years quite a bit. I mean, quite a bit. This was really like my signature scent for quite a while. I absolutely loved it. This is a fragrance that has at the top green notes, freesia, sage, citrusy notes, and mandarin orange. At the heart, carnation, lily, lily of the valley, narcissus, marigold, violet, rose, and jasmine. And at the base, musk, heliotrope, sandalwood, amber, and patchouli. Now, this is a fragrance that there's two things that you really need to know about it because it's really, really important. This is definitely a musk-based fragrance. The musk here is a tad animalic. You may not even pick up on it, but the musk level here is a level between 3 and 4, more 3 than 4, but definitely present, where 1 would be the least that you would pick up on the musk and 5 the most. This is definitely between a 3 and 4. So you have to enjoy a musk-based scent in order to really appreciate this one. I also want you to know that at the dry down, due to the heliotrope, the note of heliotrope and the violet to top it all off, the dry down is quite powdery, not cloying or overpowering, but it is definitely very powdery, at least to my nose and on my skin. If you own this fragrance and you've used it for a while, let us know, do you pick up on that powdery dry down? The other thing that you need to know is that this is a powerhouse. This is one of those fragrances that if you overspray, like if you spray it on your pulse points and then you spray it all over, it's going to be a bit much because this one is known to really like knock you out because it's so beast mode. This one does not need to be oversprayed. Needless to say, this is very feminine and a fragrance that, while some may argue it's perfect for all year, for me, this is perfection only for the spring and summer seasons. This is not a fragrance that I would ever pick up on a very cold winter day or even a fall cool day. To me, this is all about primarily the spring followed by the summer. And when it comes to the summer, I'm very careful that it's not a very hot summer day because, again, it is full on beyond beast mode, so it can be a bit much. Other than that, what you're going to experience here is the most awesome floral journey. This is a fragrance that opens citrusy, bordering on zesty, just a tad zesty, not much. It's not airy or freshy in any kind of way. It is a bomb of florals, truly done very nicely in my opinion, but you really have to be into florals because this is the ultimate floral fragrance. At that, you can definitely use it for any occasion, but I would definitely not use it for those moments where you know you're going to be perspiring because I am telling you, it will be a bit much. Other than that, I highly recommend it for the spring season and the summer, but primarily for the spring season. Let us know, did you ever try Eternity for Women? What were you up to when this one, around 1988, 1990, when it was at the very height, even though this fragrance is still very popular? So the next and last fragrance that I have for you today, of course, is part of our memory lane. And this is a very special fragrance because this one was launched in 1948 by Robert Ricci. So, of course, you know that I must be speaking about L'air du Temps. And here is the gorgeous bottle. And this one is coming, of course, out of the house of Nina Ricci. Now, this bottle is very, very special because Lalique was commissioned in order to design and produce this bottle. And the cap is very special because it is like intertwined doves. So it is just beautiful. Now, this fragrance was inspired by the post-war movement of peace and love and freedom and harmony and prosperity. It was like a whole movement. And that's what this fragrance was really inspired by. Thus why the cap is intertwined doves that, symbolize freedom and, just being happy. Now, this fragrance, of course, like any other fragrance that has been around for that long, I mean, since 1948, it has gone through several iterations, and this bottle has been produced in different limited edition versions. So for the collectors of L'air du Temps, this is definitely a fragrance of high significance. And for us fragrance collectors, you always want to have a bottle in your collection because of what it symbolizes. This is also known to be the signature scent of Ingrid Bergman, that actress. And I have to tell you, it really is a beautiful scent. But let's talk about it in more detail. So this fragrance has at the top spices, neroli, peach, bergamot, and Brazilian rosewood. At the heart, carnation, lily, iris, lang lang, may rose, and orchid. And at the base, moss, musk, sandalwood, ambergris, cedar, vetiver, and benzoin. Now, this fragrance What makes it special, in my opinion, is that it is the perfect combination of white, purple, and yellow florals. It is rare to find that very complex combination in a fragrance, and to top it all off, incorporating so many different florals from each category. But at the end of the day, I have to tell you that the star note here is of the florals is definitely the note of carnation. So if you have not tried the note of carnation, you really want to get your nose on it, or try this fragrance so that you can understand what the carnation is about, because here it is the most dominant of all the florals. But at the dry down, you are going to get a very floral scent that, in my personal opinion, is a bit nostalgic. And this is a fragrance that also, to me, requires a certain level of maturity to wear it. This is not a 20-something-year-old fragrance. To me, this is definitely appropriate for a 30, 40, and above type of individual. At that, this is also very feminine, and I know that many think that this is appropriate for all year, but I have to tell you, I would never pull this fragrance during the summer or a very warm day, even in the spring, because it will be a bit much. This is definitely a powerhouse of a fragrance. It's not screechy or too loud, in my opinion, but it is definitely a powerhouse. And with all of those florals that are definitely present, I would not take a chance on like choking myself or others around me. So the fragrance definitely opens with a fruity, citrusy quality, but it immediately incorporates florals. You're not going to be able to distinguish much in the journey except for that carnation that comes in, at least on to my nose and on my skin, as you are like midway in the olfactory journey and kind of approaching the dry down. That's when the carnation really, like, the carnation has been present all along, but it like separates itself from the other florals, and then it's just about the carnation. As you approach the dry down, there is a very musky scent, a very musky presence, and the musk here I would say is between a 4 and a 5, more 4 than 5, but it is definitely not animalic. At that, there is a certain degree of woodiness which grounds the fragrance at the dry down, but you're also going to pick up at the dry down on a bit of that mossy note. And that is not for everybody, because the mossy note here is not faint or demure. It is definitely present. It's not, overpowering or obnoxious, but it is definitely present. And I know that that's not for everybody. The dry down again is powdery, and it is a scent that overall is going to give you like a nostalgic feel at the dry down. It is a very lovely scent, but I am not sure that this is one that I personally want to wear on the regular. Like, if I didn't have this big collection, would I have this fragrance to use on the regular nowadays? Personally, I would not. I definitely have to be in the mood or in a mood to wear this fragrance, right? Where I'm feeling a certain kind of way and I just think about it and I pull it. Otherwise, this is a fragrance that, again, I really think requires a certain amount of maturity. And by the way, I forgot to tell you that the name of this fragrance means the spirit of the times. It is all about that mood in that time of 1948. That's why it was named this way, because it was all about that shifting mood of a more positive outlook on life. Anyway, let us know if you've tried this fragrance, if this is a fragrance that you've been using for a long time, if you absolutely love it. If you love it, what is it that you love about it? What have you experienced that really has captured your heart completely? If you've tried it and you really dislike it, also let us know why. What has your experience been? Do you find it to be nostalgic as I do? Because I definitely find this to be a very nostalgic scent. All right, fam. So we've reached the end of today's Chatty Scent Corner, and I hope that this was enjoyable. I know that this is going to be a very long video, because imagine sharing 21 fragrances and then doing memory lane and adding an additional 2. But I felt that it was a good idea to come on here today and just have like a whole conversation around spring, just to prepare you so that you have time to pick up a fragrance that interests you, or put your coin together and pick one that really piqued your interest. As always, what am I going to say? I want you to have not just an awesome Saturday, but an incredibly blessed and joy-filled weekend. Sending you, as always, much love and blessings. Thank you so much for hanging with me today, and I will see you all in the next video.